War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit around the table, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We'll take you however we can get you. We appreciate you just being here, hanging out with us, and just having a good old time talking about all things orange and blue. On tonight's live stream, as it has been the case throughout football season on Wednesday nights, we sit down and we try to preview the upcoming game for the Auburn football 2021 season, that being the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Cowbells are coming. It's like a scary thing to think about. Although I can't remember, can the Cowbells be brought into the stadium anymore if it's not their own home stadium? I forget about that. I remember a time where they could, and that was, oh, that's awful. One of the worst experiences I've ever had in terms of just your ears ringing the entire time when I went to Starkville and experienced that. Nice campus, nice stadium, nice people for the most part. Awful sound. Anyway, we're going to preview that tonight, and I want to hear from you all. It is a live caller show tonight. Pinned at the top should be, if I did it correctly, checking all my little angles here, the call-in number, and I will post it in the chat for you tonight as we go throughout. If you do want to call in, don't be shy. You can be live on camera, or you can just be audio only. You have the choice to select either or. But pop in here, say hello. I'd love to hear your perspectives. There were some very, shall we call it, energetic comments on our videos this week, and I had one person even say that they were going to call in. We'll see if that happens. But take advantage of that if you'd like. It's open to anybody as long as you behave yourself, since it is a live family-friendly show. Let's say hello to a couple of people as we get things started tonight. Kevin Kelly's here. Clint Richardson's here. Kevin's already dropping his predictions. We've got a channel member, Dusty, and a Booster Club member from Pensacola, Florida. He knows the drill. Post where you're watching from, city, state, international, all that good stuff. So does Thomas from Leeds. Thanks for being here, Thomas. And our channel member and Booster Club member, Mr. Felix, being here as well. Thank you guys so much for your support, and thank you for being here live tonight. As you do come in as well, if you do enjoy this type of content, please do ask that you make sure that you smash that like button. It does help other people know that we're live. You can even share it out on a social media platform and let people know that they can come in and have a big group hug with us, because I think we had our therapy session last week, right? Or excuse me, last Monday. I think we got all of that out. I think especially basketball last night kind of quelled some of the anger and some of the frustrations with seeing how well that seems to have a trajectory this year. So I think for the most part, things have calmed down, unless you're someone that's just being really, really unreasonable. Rob Donaldson, good to see you. Sup, War Eagle from Huntsville. We got Florida, Texas, Alabama, of course. Did I see a Georgia there earlier? I know a couple of people that are here from Georgia. I usually tune into the show. Rodney, good to see you, a channel member. Thank you, sir, for your support from Florence, Alabama. We got a good crowd and a good crew assembled here already tonight. So thank you guys so much. We're going to do score predictions, but hold the predictions until the end. Just hold on to them, folks. We're going to do it at the end. I want you guys to help inform my decision. And again, I've tried to kind of stay away from predicting the score until I got to tonight, because you really do play a crucial role in all of that. You really do. Clint Richardson says no predictions. By the way, go check out Clint Richardson's Instagram account. He just did a live build, as they call it, of a football helmet, a Auburn football helmet. He did that live. I'm sure you can catch it on a replay. But if you're not, you need to be following him on his social media accounts. Just a little shout out for Clint there. Let's see. Rob says I had the Auburn game on the laptop and the Duke Kentucky game on TV. Wow, what a game. I did not get to watch that one. I'm going to try. I've made a commitment. Well, I shouldn't say a commitment, a proactiveness to me this year that I'm going to try to follow the rest of college football a little bit better. I'm not going to be able to watch many other games. I'm not going to be able to, and basketball, I mean, um, to, tune in as much, but I'm going to try to like check scores and stuff like that because I really want to kind of be more informed, especially when it comes time for our bracket challenge, which you guys can take part in. But I guess a reminder here, I know this is our football show. We are going to do some basketball specific stuff, especially as football starts winding down. As of this moment, we think we're going to probably start doing a Tuesday live stream in between the Monday and Wednesday football live streams to get us through the kind of crossover period. And then we'll switch basketball centric stuff to Monday nights and keep Wednesday as a free for all, which tends to be mainly football related. As we all know, it kind of tends to skew that way. Thomas said, I'm almost glad I missed the last stream after A&M. I don't think I would have been able to keep it PG. Listen, I understand. I understand the frustrations. If you probably missed what was a very entertaining stream, if you haven't watched the replay, you should, because Austin was here. He shared his grades with me. We were not favorable to anybody. I think we gave almost the entire everybody outside of running backs got almost a failing grade, if not a failing grade. So we were very honest, but if you've been here a while, I tend to lean on the side of defending Bo a little bit, and I stand by that. But I know that's a point of contention for a lot of people. Rob says, is Auburn still a minus 5.5 spread? Well, I will look here and see. On the chart that I have pulled up, it doesn't have the spread listed, but it has Auburn listed as a 66.8% fan vote favorite to win the Mississippi State game. I think the betting money still is that Auburn wins. I think that is probably going to be the wise choice. It's in Jordan-Hare. It is a 12 o'clock game. They're coming off a bad game. But here's the great thing about this. People forget that after each bad game that Auburn has had, they've responded. Not or a loss. Penn State, they responded with Georgia State, and you can kind of all throw that into one there. After the Georgia loss, they responded as well, and now hopefully that trend will continue to follow through. The even more interesting thing is, as everybody notice, we win two, we lose one, we win two, we lose one, we win two. If that continues, you might want to prepare yourself for an Iron Bowl loss. Did I say that? I predicted 8-4 this year, so I'm well prepared for that scenario. Although I do know when Auburn's in Jordan-Hare, anything's possible, even a 109-yard kickoff return. All right, don't be shy. Make sure you take advantage of calling in tonight. I want to hear from you. You can still air grievances if you need to about the Texas A&M game, but we're trying to move forward a little bit. Coach Harsin wants us to do that, so we're going to try to focus mainly on that. Rob's getting us started here. He says, the key points, Mississippi State's defensive line is pretty good. Think we need to get that running game going early. The formula was that for the Ole Miss game. And you saw how well that worked, right? It opened up the pass. And once the pass got rolling, it opened up the running game even further. We used to be a team and a scheme under Malzahn where the run informed the pass. It seems with Bobo that the pass is going to inform the run. And I'm not saying it's always going to be the case that way while Bobo's here, but it seems to be the tendency, right? So, yes, I think, yes, we need to establish a running game, but we have to have guys catching the ball. We know the struggles that the offensive line has had. And I shouldn't even be getting frustrated with them at this point because it is what it is. What shouldn't be happening is drop balls and wide receivers offsides. You missed an epic just rant for the ages from me. I couldn't stop yelling it. How are you offsides as a college wide receiver last stream? So you have to go back and watch that if you want to. It was quite entertaining, I'm sure, for a lot of people. So they've really got to catch the ball to make their defensive line, their defense respect. Because right now there's very low respect for the connection between Bo and his receivers. And if they don't respect that, they can key off on the run and keep it from getting started. Felix is still confident about his 9-3. You should be. I really think that you should be, because there is going to be an opportunity for Auburn to do that, and in a scenario that's more favorable for them to pull that off. So 9-3 still looks pretty good for you, sir. I would love that if that happened. Rob says, how about Coach Harsin? By the way, do I sound a little bit lower than normal, guys? Let me know, because I can hear it in the mic most of the time, but it sounds a little lower to me. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Just it sounds a little low on my end. How about Coach Harsin? The media quickly went after Nix. However, Harsin changed the room by blaming the entire offense. Do you mean that in a good way or a bad way, Rob? I'm kind of not saying. I think I know which way you're saying with that, but yeah, I mean, you would hope a coach would do that, right? You would hope that a coach would see the media trying to build a narrative, the fans trying to build a narrative that Bo sucks, as they do, and trying to really focus his players mainly. Harsin couldn't get 2 rips what the media thinks or the fans think. He cares what his players think about themselves and each other. And if he starts letting them buy into that by giving any little seed that Bo's not his guy, that's gonna filter into the program, and it's become a cycle that doesn't work out really well for the team overall. So I'm happy that he continues to respond to questions about Bo and questions about things of that nature with the response, yeah, he did not play well, but he wasn't getting a lot of help either. Kenneth's here, one of our channel members. Thank you for being here from Cocoa Beach. Oh, the beach sounds lovely right now with it getting chilly in the air here. A nice, slightly warm beach evening sounds absolutely amazing. Thomas agreed. The response after the losses this year has been there. We need to break that trend over the next 3 weeks, though. Still a believer in this team and our coach. And you should be. Listen, what's fascinating to me about the response to this fan base is these, and I mean this with all the love that I can, delusional Auburn fans that can't fathom that you can go 8-4 in a transitional year. I mean, just lost their ever-loving minds. The fact that could be a reality. It's actually the more likely thing. It's actually more likely in a transition year that you completely face plan and maybe not even become bowl eligible. Harsin's already matched what should be the expectations and has a chance to exceed them. Like where we're sitting at right there. Kevin's feeling pretty good about that 9-3 overall. Yes, 9-3 is doable. Lots of people love that. It is very doable. Will it happen? Still tough sledding to go. Can't overlook Mississippi State. Dusty says, do you think Mason is going to try to blitz this week and make Rodgers uncomfortable? He's spelled the other way, but I think our tendency is to spell it because of Aaron Rodgers, but that's funny because I even had to wait a minute, is Aaron Rodgers playing this week in college somehow? Uncomfortable or sit back in coverage? It's a great question. One he's probably asking himself. I'll be honest with you. I should have watched how often Mississippi State is throwing downfield, like 20 plus, 30 plus yards, probably. If they're doing that a lot, then you're probably going to see them sit back in coverage because we know that outside of Roger McCreary, we know that Jalen Simpson has shown a little bit of promise this week, in the past couple of weeks, that a lot of guys get beat deep. And you got to give that cushion to support that bend but don't break mentality that tends to be a little bit more successful for us. I want us to blitz because I think that's in the nature that is Auburn, is to, have that reputation. But are we there? Do we have the athletes in place to compensate for the holes, the gaps that opens up? I don't know. I would prefer always that we blitz. I can take getting beat deep to some degree, but I don't like seeing a quarterback sit in the pocket for 3, 4, 5 seconds. They should be forced to move after the first 3 seconds a little bit. I'm not talking about you even have to sack them or push them out into the flats, but you've got to get them, a little bit of more of a push. All right, we got our first caller tonight. Let's welcome him in. Kevin, what's up?
I think we will beat Mississippi State Saturday.
I think so too, sir. I haven't decided on my score yet. Seems like you're pretty set on your score. But I feel fairly confident, despite the bad game that we had, just a little bit ago. Are you still feeling pretty confident even after what you saw of the offense?
Yeah.
What do you think Auburn has to do? What's the one thing Auburn has to do in this game to be more successful offensively?
Do the flea flicker the right way.
Do the flea flicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't mess that up. Maybe that's the difference in the Texas A&M game, a big momentum swing for sure. Because if I remember, the guy was open down the field based off of the replay. But there were two bad tosses in a row from wide receiver to wide receiver, and then wide receiver to Bo. I mean, Bo's got to catch it, but
yeah. I thought that they should put TJ Finley in.
So why do you think that? Why, that's been a lot of people's response. They should have put TJ Finley in. Why do you think that would have made a difference?
Because Auburn might end up winning the game.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we could say that for any player that, you might put him in there. There might be a change. I mean, I'm always willing to entertain that. I just think that the game had not gotten out of hand early enough, like in Georgia State. Remember how early we knew bad Bo was playing. Bo was playing from the get-go bad. Bo didn't have a bad game, honestly, probably until the end of the third quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter. So at that point where it's still kind of, you have a chance, I don't know that that's the best thing for the team overall. However, TJ's earned it, right? I think TJ has earned an opportunity to see some playing time. So I'd love to see him get some more time and packages and stuff right now. But I worry about not just the mental state for Bo, but I also worry about, what that does for the team and kind of creating dissension if you do that too often. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How about the defense, Auburn defense?
Well, I want to know what you think. I've got plenty of time. What do you think about the defense against Mississippi State?
I think we will intercept a couple passes.
Well, they certainly throw it a lot. So you would think the more often they throw it, right, the more often you have an opportunity to intercept it.
Or we could blitz more often.
We could. That's what Dusty was saying earlier. Dusty was asking the question, will we sit back more or blitz more? I hope we blitz more. Rodgers has 8 interceptions on the year. That doesn't seem like a lot for the amount that they throw it. But I know one place they won't be throwing. That's Roger McCreary Island.
Yeah, Roger McCreary.
All right. Remind people real quick, what was your score prediction before you head out?
Auburn 31, Mississippi State 20.
All right. We'll see if that holds up. And if you're right, you can come back here next week and say, I got it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Bye. All right. So that was Kevin. Thank you so much for calling in, buddy. Always a pleasure to hear you every week. And you guys can call into and take advantage of the call-in line if you'd like to. I'll post it again. Don't have to be on camera like Kevin was, but you can just do the audio version alone if you'd like. If you're one of the people who doesn't like to be on camera, I completely understand that. All right, we're a little behind on chat here, but let's see. Calvinist, Auburn man, or Stan is here. Sorry, I'm late. War Eagle, good to see you. Thanks for popping in here. Big Simps in the house. Good to see you, Big Simp. A lot of people are showing up now. Make sure you guys share this out on social media. Smash that like button. Let the fans know that we're here. We got a lot of our regulars here that I think are a little bit down, and they need to remind them, come home. Come home to the E2C network. It's all right. I know it was a bit of a struggle this week, but we can still have fun talking Auburn football. Kenneth says, still hoarse from yelling at the TV. I didn't get hoarse, but I said things and did things that I shouldn't have. Didn't feel like there was a sense of urgency at the fourth quarter as the fourth quarter started. Well, it didn't really show up until it got out of hand, right? The urgency was there, which is why Bo had the interception. It was just, trying to force things at that point, which is never going to be a really successful formula. Kenneth says it's 68 degrees and rainy here. You'd love it. I would not. I hate rain with a passion. Devin, you may take that phrase and use it if you'd like. I have not coined that term. I think my dad, my late father, used that a lot. That's probably why I say it. Rob, your thoughts? Our defense is 100%, I guess, or what are the Mississippi State offensive threats? I haven't watched them all year. I think, honestly, their threat is the amount of times they throw it and how is that going to catch us off guard. The offensive threat, and I know I say this a lot, I'm like a broken record, but you can really learn a lot from listening to Coach Harson's press conferences this year. You didn't get that a lot with Gus, right or wrong. Gus was the coach speak coach, and he wouldn't really give you much to either his detriment or not. But Harson, while he does coach speak, if you listen, you can figure out what's going on. And I think that's a bit of a shock for some Auburn fans. So what I heard from him this week, he pointed out how deceptive the running game is. I think that's the word he used. Meaning they are a air raid, which means they hardly run it. But when they do, it's so disguised, you don't know if it's going to be a pass or a run for them. Their running sets look like their passing sets. Their passing sets look like their running sets. It's just kind of one of those things. They're so creative with it. It's hard to really pinpoint. So for me, I think the running game for them is going to be the difference here. Is Auburn smart enough? Is Auburn strong enough mentally to obviously do the work this week to prepare for it? I know that they are. And to execute. That's a big word. We finally got people admitting now execution is the thing that's lacking from this team. So what was lacking from the latter Gus years. It's what's been lacking this year. You can coach all you want, but if you don't go out there and execute, and you don't have any other options that can execute, you kind of see what happens, right? So we know they're going to throw. We know they're going to have success to some degree throwing. Can we put pressure on the quarterback to keep him from having enough time to make the correct decisions? Because he's a good decision maker, Will Rogers, their quarterback. But also, can we keep that running game from becoming a thorn in our side? Is it going to be too deceptive? Too hard to figure out? Thomas says 10-4 Iron Bowl loss or bowl loss. I'm not mad at it. That in year one for brand new staff, brand new scheme, brand new program. Yeah, it takes time. I agree. Let's see. Well, Big Simp, we're not going to talk a lot of b-ball tonight, but come back next week. I'm planning on Tuesday, still, the normal Monday and Wednesday football shows, but Tuesday, we're going to do a live basketball centric. Anytime we get together, we can really talk about anything for the most part. But I kind of want to keep it mainly focused on what people here are here for, the description, the video title, all that stuff. But looks pretty good, right? We'll talk about week one next week in a little bit more detail. Dusty, it would be nice if we start fast and avoid that 11 a.m. lull. I'm dreading this week for so many things. It has really nothing to do with the team, just because of the stuff that I love to do for you all on campus all day. It's really hard to, because at 9 a.m. it's Tiger Walk time. That's, and I'm having to change my normal routine. And I'm not saying this to complain, because I still love doing this myself, but I also love doing it for you all. It just kind of, it's a waste. It really is. And I don't understand why they would give Auburn and South Carolina. I know some reasons why, but I still don't agree with it. The 7:00 kickoff and not the Mississippi State game this week, because those two next 2 weeks aren't worthy of the 3:30 CBS time. But this one, in my opinion, was much more valuable as a 4:00 ESPN or a 7:00 ESPN time. But here we are, 12 a.m. Eastern time, 11 Central time. So yes, that lull is going to be awful for everybody involved. Is the team mentally strong enough to not let that affect him? They've done it once this year. We'll see if it keeps going that way. Russell, good to see you. Thanks for being here, and appreciate you reminding everybody to thumbs it up here today. All right, let me do this real quick before we get any more callers in. And if I miss your call in the middle of this, we'll get back to you. So don't fret if I don't bring you in. But I do want to take this opportunity to remind you guys of our sponsors for this stream. and that is Manscaped. So this holiday season, you guys, I'm sure, are already looking for gift ideas. And let's be honest, one of the hardest things to find a gift for is a man, because we're just not, we don't like giving out ideas. I'm just speaking for myself, but I've seen this kind of be the case for a lot of people out there. One of the things that you can do is give a man something practical, something they actually can need and use. And that is kind of in the area of taking care of yourself, men's grooming. Just think about this: 4 million men worldwide trust Manscaped and are taking advantage of some of the products that they have this season. We have a 20% off plus free shipping code E2C. That's the letter E, the number 2, the letter C. Use that code by going to manscaped.com. I've talked to you guys a lot about some of the products that I've had an opportunity to try. We've talked about the Lawnmower 4.0, which is the full body trimmer that you can use. Use that. It works absolutely great. We talked a little bit of that last time. This time I want to share with you guys, and I don't unfortunately have the prop with me at this moment, but their body wash. This especially is the biggest approval that you can get, the approval of the wife. And for me personally too, you find a lot of times that body washes out there, they're either, for my taste personally, too floral or things like that. There's nothing that really is just the right scent for a man, but also, you know, get you clean, first of all. So I have found that their body wash is really, really good. And I'm using it every single day now. So if you want to take advantage of the offer, the special code that we have to get 20% off, make sure you're doing that. 20% off plus free shipping with the code E2C at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code E2C at manscaped.com. Make sure you're ready for this holiday season for the man in your life and get them the gift of Manscaped. All right. Thank you, guys. We will get back to our normal discussion here, and make sure you're smashing that like button if you haven't done so already. We'll get back to comments and questions and derogatory rebuttals. Still waiting for a few people that said they were going to call in because they had some very strong opinions they wanted to talk. Haven't showed up yet. I don't mean, I know that probably sounds a little bit arrogant, but I kind of know sometimes when there's people that have a little disagreement, they're kind of bowing up a little bit in the comments that they say they're going to show up. They typically don't. I'd love to see them though, because I want to have those type of conversations, because I love the pushback, not in a let's fight way, but like let's bounce ideas off each other. Let's figure it out what's going on here, because that's the premise of what we do here, right? Y'all don't come here just, I hope, to hear exactly what I say and agree with it. You want to share your ideas. You want to hear other people's ideas and bounce off of that thing, because that's just what we love to do. Thomas says, I expect to see a lot of rotation on the defense to keep fresh legs in the fourth quarter. Got to outlast the plays that take 5 or 6 seconds to develop in the Mississippi State offense. Great way to sum that up defensively. I think that's brilliant. That's the thing, right? They're going to run a lot of plays, and most of them are going to be passing. We're going to have to rotate a lot of guys in. I hope the depth that's hopefully been developing over the last couple of years here at Auburn is ready for this challenge. We did it last year. We can do it again. You've got Roger McCreary as your stalwart guy, who is definitely going to be the rock you can lean on. Jalen Simpson seems to be anchoring down the other side. Those safeties in the middle, though, and is Zion Puckett still out? I cannot remember, because I completely forgot that he was out. But Tennyson had a great game. Really going to need, the middle of the defensive back front to be ready for this game. And if they get 5 to 6 seconds to develop, that's going to be a problem. 3 or less. That's all he needs. I mean, honestly, that's all he needs, but that's all we need to give them. Rob, your thoughts after we win the rest of the season, play in the SC Championship, will Auburn be considered in the Final Four? Absolutely not. I hope that you're being, just having fun with that and recognize that's not going to happen. But let's play devil's advocate, right? Let's assume we can take care of business against Mississippi State. Let's assume we can take care of business on the road against South Carolina. Florida couldn't, but or at least to some degree. And can we shock the world against Alabama? That means at that point, if they haven't lost, you're beating the number 2 team overall. You would assume probably with those 2 wins, some, back and forth losses from other teams, Auburn's probably back close to the top 10, maybe like 13, 12, something like that. With that win, that would launch you into the top 10, probably barely. And then really it's hard after that point because there's so many teams that aren't going to lose. You'd really have to have a sea of attrition. Not attrition is the right word, but just parity for that to take place, even with an SEC championship win over Georgia. Because Georgia, even in that case, assuming that's their only loss, is not going to fall out of there. Cincinnati, even though they're getting disrespected, in my opinion, is not going to fall back most likely. Oklahoma's probably not going to get a challenge. Well, maybe. You might. Ohio State and Michigan, one of them is going to eliminate each other, but still you've got to contend with that. And then Oregon. Unless Oregon really craps the bed, I mean, that's it. You've got Georgia, Oregon, and probably either Ohio State and Oregon, if I said this right, that are going to probably be there. And that leaves maybe one spot open. And a 3-loss Auburn team, even with that type of run, I don't think happens. In fact, I'd probably bet on that happen if I was a betting man. Kenneth says, I think Rabbit and Owen can control the running game with help from Smoke. D-line has to control the edge. And they did a good job of that. Even old Gary Danielson pointed that out. But we're going to need a little bit more than that. I heard Chandler Wooten saying that get up at 6 a.m., that they get up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm sure they get up early regardless. Coach Harsin don't play around. But yes, it certainly quickens the pace of that normal routine, and we haven't done that a lot in terms of 12 a.m. home starts. I think Alabama State, and that's it, really. And that was a long time ago. So this is going to be, and this is still a team like, where they're still getting used to the routine of everything. Yeah, you've been doing the routine with the home game, but it's different at 12 o'clock. So that's going to play a factor as well. We look way better under Harsin playing early games than we did under the old administration. Not worried about it. We'll beat them good. I hope you're right. I'm not taking them lightly. I'm not saying that you're not, but I hope you're not taking them lightly because they've given some people some fits to the point of a loss that they weren't expected to give them at times. Jordan, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Big Sip, I don't know if I could bring that comment up there, but I talked about if you missed last live stream, me and Austin, about a time when I had kidney stones, not gallstones, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to connect those dots there. I don't know that Manscaped. Y'all could appreciate that in the comment section there. But yes, Tom, thank you guys. I see a lot of y'all are saying, glad you're seeing Manscaped has jumped on board here. The best way that you can help support us is by supporting them. And there's a lot of great products that they have there. I'm not just saying that. I've actually tried them, sent me a whole bunch of stuff to make sure that I was willing to promote, and it's worth it. E2C is the code, but thank you guys for the congratulations. Let's see here. Sources say that Puckett is still out. That's kind of what I anticipated. And kind of, I hear that, and I don't want to say that lightly because I don't want to act like I'm always in the know. I know a few things, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an insider all the time. You just sometimes just paying attention is all that it takes. Corey, good to see you. War Eagle to you, sir. Thanks for being here. Corey is a Booster Club member. You can be a Booster Club member too by checking out those links in the description, such as many of our other fine people here, or being a channel member, whichever way you want to help. You don't even have to do that. You can just hit the like button and just be here. All right, more comments, questions, derogatory rebuttal. I want you guys to call in. Don't be shy. I know it's a little bit intimidating. I don't bite that hard. There's the link again if you want to take advantage of it. Kevin's already called in tonight. Why don't we look at this? Let's kind of run down some of the stats, and you guys tell me anything that sticks out to you. Currently, 66% or 67 almost think that Auburn will win the game. Will Rogers has thrown 483 passes. By comparison, Bo has thrown 282. He has 20. Will Rogers has 23 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Bo has 9 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. And again, just as case, so people can get mad because I'm defending Bo, one of those is not his fault. Actually, 2 of those is not his fault. The last one is his fault because he threw it. But I would argue that Bo realistically only has 2 that can be somewhat attributed to him. Their best running back has 82 carries, 292 yards. That is Marks with 4 touchdowns. Did you guys know that Tank was closing in on 1,000? I know it feels like it wasn't because of how slow things were going this middle of the season for him. But he is 140 carries, 735 yards total, 7 touchdowns. So we might restart that trend of 1,000-yard rushers again. Kobe Hudson, obviously, is our leading wide receiver. Theirs is Polk. This was one of the guys that Coach Hudson called out in terms of you really need to pay attention to. Obviously, Rogers, the quarterback, Polk, the wide receiver, and I forget the names of the 2. I don't have my chart over here, my paper over here, with the 2 defenders that he said to keep it on. They were both linebackers, though. So those are kind of the players that you're really going to want to watch. How Will Rogers has success is how Mississippi State will have success. Same for Polk as well. I think that's been the big theme here. Is the question is for people, even though the offense struggled mightily last game, can the defense withstand this unique and sometimes deceptive and frustrating type of offense? Because I think the offense will get going as it has been every time this year. But will the defense be able to match what they did last game, which was impressive, right? I said on our stream about the game, it was a good performance. It wasn't a great performance, but it was a good performance. What you want to see more. I want to see more. I would rather have more consistent good than 1 or 2 greats. We got another Georgia fan here, also a big SEC apologist. Good to see you. Thank Bainbridge, Georgia. Thanks for popping in. I know you guys are not wanting us to talk about it. We kind of talk about it so we can jinx you this year, and hopefully you don't win that national championship. Corral is better than the Mississippi State quarterback, and you see what we done to him, what we've done to him. Yes, I would say that Matt Corral, as a Heisman favorite, is clearly the better quarterback. I would say, though, that Will Rogers seems very well fitted for the air raid offense. If he wasn't, they wouldn't have some of the success that they've had this season. Is it consistent success? No. But at the right time, it has been. Matt Corral is the better athlete, which is why he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Russell says, I watched the 2 plays multiple times that Jimbo accused Auburn of calling out snap counts to get the false start. Totally absurd accusation. They're clearly jumped on their own. Speaks volumes to Jimbo. Even Coach Hudson addressed this and said he talked around it. If you listen to my weekly video where I break down the press conference, I kind of discussed this a little bit. But essentially, he talked around it, so you'll never know if that actually happened or not. Listen, every team's looking for an advantage. Every team cheats. Ole Miss laying down on the field much. It's to what degree, and is it actually illegal? I'm not excusing it, and I'm not saying we should do that, but I'm simply saying that if you look at the second one, the guy clearly knew he was offsides regardless. So, there's like an unwritten rule. I don't know if it's actually a rule in basketball now where you can't run up as you're going up to a guy to like put your hand in their face as they're about to shoot. You can't clap at them. I do that all the time, and people hate me for it, but I'm here to win. So, it's petty. You won. Shut up, Jimbo. Is all I have to say about that, pretty much. All right, I want to pull up some more stats for Mississippi State. That'll start helping us inform our predictions for this game. Caleb, good to see you. War Eagles, sir. Thanks for being here. Caleb, have you been here before? I try to keep up with you guys as much as I can, but as we've continued to grow as a channel, credit goes to you guys completely for that, by the way. All on you. By the way, I know I keep saying it. We're getting ready to do that giveaway thing that we'll do to get us to 2,000 subscribers. That'll be the benchmark for when we do that, but we'll do the video before then. Anyway, all that aside, thank you guys so much for your support on this. The reason that I'm able to make this my full-time job now is because of you all. And I enjoy doing this stuff. Podcasting, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So I get to do what I love because you guys love Auburn. All right. Here are some more stats for you folks here. Points per game, 28 for Mississippi State, 31 for Auburn. Kind of matches a little bit that 5.5, I think is what the spread was recently. I know that's not technically, it's like 4 points, but close to it. Points allowed per game, 25 for Mississippi State, still only 19 for Auburn. As much as the defense has been beleaguered this year at times in certain areas, they have put up an impressive 19.8 point per game allowance. That's not bad. If your offense can just get 3 touchdowns and, typically a field goal or 2, you're sitting pretty there. So with that being said, there's really no stark differences that I see there. Obviously, all of those figures favor Auburn, especially at home, which is why I think you're going to see most people expecting Auburn to win here. I don't anticipate game day having anything to say about this really, other than because it's at home, Auburn is going to win, but they'll probably caution Auburn, and they should. Oh, you've been here once before. I see. That's the thing, is I try to keep track of everybody the best I can. I was like, that looks familiar, but I couldn't remember. The defensive scheme should lean towards blitzing linebackers and multiple looks in the secondary. Defensive line has to push the pocket to get off blocks. Rodgers' accuracy isn't stellar on the move. Absolutely. So I think that's the main thing. I agree with setting the edge, but I almost wonder, is it going to be better for us to get that focus push up the middle, right? Because if he is one of these quarterbacks that's not as good on the move, if you get him outside moving there a little bit, obviously he's going to be a little bit more prone, especially as often as they throw some interceptions. And you might even get him to throw towards Roger McCreary because nobody wants to throw to Roger McCreary Island unless you have to. It's just that good. I'm starting to have this conversation now with myself, and I'm trying to stop myself from doing it. Is Roger McCreary the best cornerback that we've had since fill in the blank? Carlos Rogers? I'm starting to think that, and that's terrible of me because now I've jinxed him. But yeah. Ole Miss cowardice for faking an insane amount of injuries at opportune times is ridiculous. If I were a fan of theirs, I'd be embarrassed. I think most reasonable ones in there are. All right, we got another caller, and it's a very close-up shot of him, but let's bring him in anyway. G-Man, what's going on?
What up?
Hey, how you doing, man? What's up?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
How you? What are we looking at here? I got a black screen now. I can't. Is your face there?
Trying to cut the camera off.
You don't want to be on camera. That's fine. You can just turn it like to a wall or something. That's all good. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh man, I don't know, man. Auburn. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So So the way Bo Nix performed Saturday.
Yes.
Is so will we see him next year?
Oh, I've thought Bo is not coming back regardless of any performance this year. I'm going to maintain that too.
So you think he's gone whether if he goes pro or transfer?
I don't think it's a transfer thing. I personally, that's just me. I don't see any reason to think that. He's an Auburn guy. And I mean, maybe, obviously I can't say that's not going to happen. I just think if you kind of look at the stuff outside the game, he's just got engaged. He's going to be getting married to his girlfriend. Probably, I don't know when the wedding, I'm not invited. I don't know when the wedding is. So there's a new phase of life that's going to start for him. He's got endorsement deals, obviously, like a lot of major athletes do. He's set up pretty well to maybe put himself in the draft based off of his performance. Will he get drafted? Probably not. But will he find himself on a team somewhere? Probably so, because they're always looking for backup quarterbacks. And maybe he just kind of gets the coaching that a lot of people think he needs there, building off of what Harson's already done. I just think I'm trying to put myself in Bo's position. He's been, right or wrong, abused in some way by the way people talk about him online. And some of the criticism, let me be clear, most of it has been warranted in some areas, but there's sometimes it goes overboard. If I'm him, I just say, you know what? These guys, they can't figure out whether they like me or they love me. I'm set up for most of my life now. Let me take this to the next level and just see if I can contribute some way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Cause I'm not like I'm not a bow batcher. You know, I like bow
Yeah.
net. You know, so like and cause I don't put him 100% at fault. You know, cause
Right.
the way our wide receivers was sliding around Saturday, it was on them too. So dude, did you see Cedric Jackson, bro? Like,
Listen. I love Shedrick Jackson so much, but there's moments where I'm just like, oh, buddy, come on. I can't defend you if you're going to do that, you know? So,
don't get me wrong. He saved the play by tripping that dude up. But
yep.
I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't the only time. Like, he slid like 4 or 5 times that game. Like, I don't know. But
here's the thing, though, too, is Shed and Kobe have been what, I think we can all agree have been our most reliable when you look at the whole body of work this season. Outside of Shanker, I'm talking about strictly wide receivers because they're mainly the only ones getting thrown to, first of all. But what they really are lacking, and we thought Demetrius Robinson was going to be this, is that star wide receiver. And I got to credit Jarrett Davis of our podcast, No Huddle, for the Auburn football podcast we have. He talks about this a lot. He says what Auburn is really lacking is that star wide receiver that takes attention away. Because what they're doing is they're really putting attention on both these guys who, at this moment, haven't proven they're these breakout stars. And they're making some of these mistakes that, when you're not the most elite of the talent, not that you're not elite, it kind of comes through. Yeah, I felt bad for Shad because he just couldn't stay on his feet. It was frustrating.
oh man, like I was like, somebody's gonna make like a TikTok out of that. I was like,
there's got to be a song that can slide to the left, slide to the right, hop back. And then you put it, you like mesh in with that Bo hopping back when the line's letting everybody through just to kind of match everything. So, hey, we gotta laugh to keep from crying sometimes, right?
Yeah, and like like even though Bo didn't look sexy Saturday,
right?
He made some good decisions. Like I was like, Bo actually took a sack. I was like, wow. I said it can happen. I was like, instead of a 15-yard loss, it was only like a 4. I was like, wow.
Bo has an aversion. I'm thinking he's allergic to getting sacked. Like there's something in his being is like, I can't allow this, and it literally takes the entire floodgates opening up to come get him where he has nowhere to run to bring him down. So I guess you could almost credit him for that, but at the same time, I get it. Yeah, because it feels like at times for every great play he does with his scramble ability, there's a bad one too. And so it's kind of one of those things. It feels like it negates itself, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's like take it or leave it at that point.
All right. So I have a hypothetical question.
I love hypotheticals.
All right. So since we lost to A&M, A&M still needs us to beat Bama, right?
Right.
Okay, but if A&M loses, then we're back in control.
Yeah. Yes. If A&M loses, we are, the way I understand the way everything breaks down, we shift into a position of control. If we win, if we beat Bama, they would have 2 SEC losses. We would have 2 SEC losses, and thus we would have.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really big on Alabama right now. Like,
I'm not either.
I mean, did you see how they played Saturday? I mean, I'm not big on Bama. Like, if it wasn't for that wide receiver they got that transfer from Ohio State and Will Anderson, Alabama would probably have 4 losses right now. Like,
it's not the typical Alabama team that we've seen. The problem is that they're still so deep and they're still so talented that while there's some openings, some holes in what they've traditionally made them strong, it still doesn't. It takes just special scenarios where they're really getting exposed for them to take losses, which is why you've only seen 1 loss, right? But at the same time, I don't agree. You want to give me a score prediction for? I'll let another caller in here.
Oh yeah. All right. So my score prediction. I'm gonna go 30. I'm gonna go 30-17.
I love it. I like it. That both you and Kevin, who called earlier and gave like those predictions happen, they're a little similar. I'm a happy guy. Hey man, thank you for calling in, G man.
All right, cool, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we got another caller in. Let's get him in here. He is a channel member and a Booster Club member. He's been waiting. Mr. Felix, what's going on, sir?
How you doing, boss? Good.
I'm hanging, man. I'm just, enjoying the little bit of peace that we have in between games here.
I hear you. Yeah, I was wanting to talk about the well, just a little bit of that, then I want to let it go because we got to let it go. But yeah, I know that people want to dog out the offensive line and Bo and all that jazz, and the play makes or the play options and all that stuff. Like just, but we have to know one thing: Texas A&M was no pushover. I mean,
Yep.
even if they did have kind of a rough little stretch after Alabama, they still beat Alabama. I
Yep.
mean, that's saying something. I don't care who you are. I mean, we barely do it every other year, and I mean, I don't know, but that is what it is. And that's
I
my
agree
thing
with you.
yeah.
Yeah,
On
I
Texas
agree
A&M,
with you.
but
I think a lot of people are forgetting that in this because, and listen, I think what you have to think about too, and I'm trying to put I'm not trying to like divide up the Auburn fan base, but that's what happens a lot of times in these situations. You get there's probably like three groups. You get the way too optimistic. You can't ever say anything wrong about an Auburn person, which probably people put me in that category if we're honest, even though that's not me whatsoever. You get the side that is just going to lambaste whoever they choose as the victim of the week, and that's a lot of time Bo Nix.
Right,
and then you get
right.
people that kind of fall somewhere in all of that, and I think that's where we all need to be. Texas, what's lost on either of those two sides, the two extremes of that, is that Texas A&M was a really good team. I shouldn't say really good. Well, really good is probably the right thing. They're probably better than what most people expected after a couple of their surprising losses.
I'd say that they're better than people expected. I mean, like any other, like like I say, you can get beat any other Saturday. I mean, you can, and it happens. I mean, one day is not your day, and I guess it just wasn't Auburn's day. I thought that was really matched up evenly to begin. To be honest with you, when we first got into it, it was 3-3 for what 3 daggone quarters, man. I mean,
It
come
felt
on,
like 3 years, to be honest with
yeah,
you.
exactly. I was just sitting there on pins and needles on my chair, man. I was like, oh my God. I kept walking away, coming back, like, my God. but, I mean, no, seriously. I think that, Harson is first year. Come on, man. You got to give this man a break. I mean, he never played in, well, I shouldn't say never played in SEC. I don't know if he played in here or not, but never coached in the SEC for sure.
Right.
And took over a fan base quite like the Auburn fan base. I mean, we respect a lot, but I mean, we get beat up on a lot, and I don't like I don't too much care for the little brother syndrome thing. I don't like that thing.
You're only what you believe they say you are. If you
Right.
believe that you're the little brother, then you're going to act like it. And I've never, whenever I see an Alabama fan say that, I just look at it, I'm like, you must have some other issues that we need to talk about. Here, I don't want to rush you, but I do want to ask you this before we kind of have to start wrapping up. Can you give me one thing that Auburn has to do in this game against Mississippi State to be successful? And then I want your score prediction.
I think we're gonna have to play our hard nosed defense. I mean, we're gonna have to blitz. We're gonna have to start, coming in there and getting after it. I mean, I think so. That's me.
I love it. What's that score prediction look like for you?
I say, and man, oh God, I say 35-21.
35-21, a little bit more high scoring than we've gotten earlier. But hey, if Auburn's scoring in the 30s in this game, I'm feeling pretty good about this situation, because to me that tells me we're keeping up, if not leaving Mississippi State behind.
I just think Bo and company's kind of pissed off They want to get some get back.
There's one thing I do know is Bo is pissed off. Wide
Oh, sure,
receivers,
sure.
I don't know if they're pissed off enough based off the last game. I know the offensive line's pissed off because they're tired of people like me being honest about
Right.
them. But
Well, I
you
mean,
know, it's time for them to step up, honestly.
for sure, boss.
Hey, Felix, thank you so much for calling in. It's glad to hear from you.
Hey, man, glad to hear from you as well. Y'all have a great time, okay?
All right, you as well. Thank you, buddy. Where you go? Oh, there we go. All right, we are going to have to close down the call in at this point, just because I'm going to have to get off here in a second. And I love hearing from you guys so much. Honestly, if we could just take calls the entire time, I would. It's so much. I love it. I really do. Josh, I don't think you have to have a computer to call. I think that link will take you right through there on your phone. Don't quote me on that. But I think you can. Give it a try sometime if you can. Not tonight because we're closing down the phone lines right now. All right, here's what I want you all to do right now. I'm going to look at some of your comments that we kind of had to gloss over a little bit there. But I want you right now in the chat to do two things. If you haven't, smash that like button. Just smash it hard. Second thing, score prediction. What is it? Auburn versus Mississippi State. We've gotten a couple from the callers. Already somewhere in the 30 range for Auburn, in the teens to the early 20s for Mississippi State. Feels like a lot of people. So please post that right now if you can. And I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and I'm gonna use y'all's to kind of help inform mine because your opinion matters to me. Oh, Vernon with the super chat. Thank you, sir, so much again for your support. I appreciate that so much. You are too kind. If you haven't, you do need to check out Vernon Speaks Sports, because he's got some great Auburn content. He's putting a lot of good things out there. And he's been out, I think for Vernon, I forget how long you've been doing this, but you're like one of the legends in my opinion, because you have been doing this for at least longer than me. And you have kind of set the benchmark in terms of being an Auburn YouTube personality. So thank you so much, sir. All right, get those predictions in. Let me see here. I think we kind of addressed much of Dusty can confirm no computer needed for that. So he has confirmed that. Let's see. Y'all forget about the SEC. We don't want to get beat by Georgia again. So AC, I'm going to call you AC. You don't want to go to the SEC championship? Is that what I'm hearing right now? Because I want to go to the SEC championship, even if it means playing Georgia again. I want it personally. Corey, yeah, that's been the frustration for me. These guys have been together long enough that it shouldn't be this bad still. And it's not one player. It's just, I don't think the right guys were brought together and coached together the right way. So, and that extends back to Malzahn and Herb Hand. It's just the reality of it is. Me as a Gus Malzahn apologist, I admit that fully. It's the thing that got him fired, and it's the thing that resulted in him not being our coach now. But at some point, it has to get better, right? It's going to be a wholesale changeover. Let's see. All right, we got score predictions. We got Corey with 41-19, 31-23, 34-17. 3 years you've been doing this, Vernon. Jeez, man. Way too long. Dusty with a super chat. Thank you, sir. You don't have to do that. You're already a Booster Club member and a channel member, but thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I don't know why you guys would do that for me. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Bo needs to play better this weekend, because if he doesn't, we are going to lose again, which I hope is not the case since it's home game for Auburn. It's a fair statement. 34-28. Tank runs for 150. Bo passes for 250. We win 34-17. Thomas, E2C for life. Love it. Vernon is with me on this one. I want it again. I want the rematch. 23-16, 31-21. All right. I'll post any more that pop up here if I can. But let me say this. I think Auburn's going to have another return to form. I think Bo will have a decent game. I'm not going to step out and say he's going to have a great game, because there's too much dependent out of his control and him having what people would consider a great game. What I will say is that the offense is going to do better. I think, again, the run game is going to get established a little bit better. Some of that will because the passing game will be a little bit better. I think Auburn can score in the 30s, but I'm going to be a little bit cautious about my prediction. So I'm going to say 27-23 Auburn beats Mississippi State. I have full confidence that this team can bust this thing out. And, I think it was Corey who said 41-17, I think is what he said. But for me, I just have not seen enough consistency for me to feel comfortable that we can do that right now. If that happens this game, then you'll see probably a more, what's a good word? Excitable Kyle in his predictions next week. But I'm going to say 27-23 Auburn, enough to keep them from being able to tie it up with a field goal at the end or something like that. That's what I think. You guys have shared your opinions now. We got a lot of new people that popped in here. So do me a couple of things before you head out here and before I have to head out. Smash that like button if you haven't. Please do go tell a friend. Share it out on social media. And if you're interested in helping support the content we do here, please do consider checking out some of those links, whether it's becoming a channel member here, you can become a Booster Club member, or you can go support our sponsor for these live streams this month, which is manscaped.com, using the code E, the number 2, the letter C, E2C. Thank you guys so much. Let's go beat the Bulldogs this week. Pay attention to our social media for on-campus stuff this week, and I'll see you all very soon. Hopefully when we get back together, we're talking about a victory over the Bulldogs.